have a weapon more powerful than their British Empire. And that weapon is our refusal to bow to any order but our own, any institution but our own.
Hey y'all, I am AJ, aka SquidTips, and I've been making YouTube videos for about 8 years. That's my primary platform. And they started out, I was making them about motorcycle stuff, and then I had some cop things happen to me, and then I started making them about police accountability and some issues. I was suing my local sheriff's department and that whole thing. And then I kind of moved, that brought me into the activist space. I live in Seattle, and so we had a big George Floyd protest, the Chop Chaz. A lot of people have heard of it. It was a big kind of national thing here in Seattle, and that got me very activated into other spaces, activist spaces, which a lot of them were trans people. And then eventually that led me to making a video called Transphobe to Trans Ally, which was a massive hit. It's the most popular video I ever made, the one that I thought was going to tank my channel, but actually like blew my channel up. And since then, in the last year, I've really been focused on doing on the ground organizing activism with the protest spaces here in Seattle. And then realizing that, I realized how specialized and important a skill set that was going to be for the future of this country. And so I started shifting my content to talk about that stuff. Yeah, and so I got fired about 6 months ago for running into a guy and screaming at a guy called Cam Higbee for ripping his little sign down when he was doing a little propaganda thing. And I'm sure some people in your audience know who people like him are. And yeah, I got a trans motorcycle crew. That's my other big thing. Got a whole bunch of trans people around me, just surrounded by them. So I am very engaged in everything related to trans people.
So very, very much transition to being an ally.
Yeah.
Were you also doing like a cook channel, like leftist cooks? Was that it?
I mentioned them. I mean, I've been, so for me, my political awakening, and I'm pretty new to it. Like, I think one of the things that helps me with my content is like, I don't come from a place of authority as like, I know best and have been here forever. I didn't really go through college. I struggled with it. I kind of just worked my way up to a professional tech career in cybersecurity. And like, I awakened in politics with 2016, like a lot of other people. And I went to YouTube as like the space where I could educate myself. And I started watching a guy who was very liberal named Stephen Destiny Bonnell II or whatever. And I don't watch him anymore. Right. And then I evolved to, that took me to like Vosh. And then that brought me into other like leftist video essayists. And I kind of had that route. And I'm now with all the people I'm surrounded with, I've been introduced to communities like the Zapatistas. And I'm very much like on that type of level now. Like we were very much looking at like indigenous movements. How did they resist, you know, like that? Cause that's what we see coming. We see a lot of chaos and disorder in this country and in the world, frankly, that we're going to need to be a lot more capable of defending ourselves from. So
have you looked at anything with the Mapuche movement?
No, I would love to.
They're also we actually have an episode where we get into it a little bit, where we go into different militancy groups, but they're mostly in South America, but it's not just one singular group. There's multiple Mapuche rebel groups.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I would love for you should put that in the top right of this section so that I can go click it and watch that video.
Land reclaiming type of stuff mostly.
I love it. I'm also very uneducated on the Kurds and the Rojavan women, but like my partner is ex-military. She has been paying attention. She's also some Guatemalan heritage and Mayan heritage, and like very working on connecting to that. And so she's been a hugely very important influence to me for helping me get educated. So
yeah, I actually spent time in Syria, but it wasn't really anything with the Kurdish movement. So like only afterwards, when I came home, I started learning. And like I came home and George Floyd happened. And like, even though I wasn't like ignorant or anything, because I had spent so much time like not involved in American politics, because I'd been working with the Syrian civil war for so long, it kind of blindsided me. So like even I had a little bit of an awakening around it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you go there and then it builds that connection to it and the interest, and you're like, oh, maybe this makes more sense to me now.
Yeah, I mainly did like jihadist stuff there.
Sick.
So
I don't know what's jihadist stuff. Is that like?
oh,
like
I spent a lot of time interviewing people who are affiliated with Al Qaeda and stuff.
wow, that would be really interesting. I feel like you'd learn a
Yeah,
lot.
so it was like ISIS was rising, so like insurance wouldn't cover people, so it presented somebody who was a nobody with an opportunity who didn't need to work with insurance to go out there.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Super dangerous though.
Yeah, no, for real. One of the things that my partner talked about, because she went to Iraq and Afghanistan, she was in the military during I literally retired, or I graduated from high school in 2004. She's a year younger than me. So, and she went in right at like 18. So she talked about how like with prisoners that like she knew people that got like just totally wrapped up, like wrong place, wrong time, and then spent like a year or whatever plus in detention, getting just treated terribly, and how it like built her interest in Arabic culture and Islam, and how she came back and like considered herself to be like Muslim, and like and how much she like cared about those people, and they taught her languages, and like yeah, it's just like the more you get out of fucking America, like that was one of the things when I left America and went to London and Paris and Rome, and like still like, you know, European white countries, but just like, wow, other countries do shit just way better than America. Like public transit and stuff, seeing how many motorcycles were there, like their streets were filled with bikes, not cars. I mean, there were still plenty of cars, but it was like way more bikes. And like how, yeah, like Americans just don't get out at all. We stick in our little bubbles and we just don't listen to each other, and we're gonna ride the fucking train all the way to
American exceptionalism.
Well, I mean, I've been, if you look at some stuff lately, like I've been saying for a while, like if you go back to the 70s and the OPEC embargo, because US supported Israel for the first time back then, like just because it made people wait in line for gas, political shifts happened. And so I've been saying for a while that if like Arab nations cared about Palestine, they would do an embargo.
Totally.
And
yeah, and also
look at gas prices just now. They raise up, and now suddenly the rape and pedophilia stuff with Trump, that's fine. Higher gas prices, then you're against him.
It's been really, I'm not going to lie, since I ran, and like I just put out a video talking about how I felt about it and just kind of like laying out like why war is bad for all of us, like why this one is especially fucking stupid, and how like we are now in this just like trap, and how this is like how I just see like the reason I bought, and while we were talking prior, like I just bought an electric motorcycle, and I made the decision, the bike that I won through my lawsuit with our local police after they drew a gun on me and did all this dumb force shit, like I was going to keep that bike forever. It has a name. The name I gave it, the license plate is 50 paid, as in the cops, the 50 paid for it. And like, it was my glory bike. And it's like this fast, like super 1000cc. Like, I mean, I have so many videos of me just ripping like 160 miles an hour on the highway here. Right. But that thing gets 17 miles to the gallon. It is like unimaginable that gas prices at this point will ever go back down lower than what they are now. And I very much expect them to double within a very short period, and that period being a maximum of a year, if not quicker than that. You know, like everything is happening so much fucking faster. All of this was predictable, but not all of it is. I don't think not many people predicted to be this fucking fast. And so I got that EV, and like other people are just, they're like, again, they're just waiting for it to hit their pocketbooks in the right way. I mean, like gas for me is $4.89. I just paid $4.89. That's not that bad. Like that's pretty much normal for Seattle, but like it's not just that. Obviously it's the fertilizer, like as a lot of the farmers and stuff have been talking about, like it is going to impact crop yields, and like oil and gas just go into everything in our economy is like driven on these, on it. Like it's just like COVID, right? Where it's like we shut down and then it took months for like things to get impacted. Like people do not fully appreciate how globalized our supply chains are, which are all things I learned in retail. Like that was what retail taught me, was just how much working for Apple specifically, like how much everything is just fucking, these companies are dialing that shit in. And the moment you have massive global disruptions like this, holy fuck, like RAM prices. I went into Best Buy, $300 fucking dollars for like 32 gigs. Holy shit.
Well, that is AI. That's AI's problem, because they're just racking up data centers. Now they're starting to build data centers in Australia. So like to get a structure built on your property in your house takes like 2 years to approve. How long do you think it took for the AI data center to get approved for
like a month?
Melbourne, right in the city center?
A month, 2 months,
2 months.
Yeah, of course.
Pretty awesome. So that's happening. Australia has a water problem. Cotton on the Murray-Darling Basin is already draining our water table. And what's the one thing that AI does?
Sucks your
Drinks
water up.
Goddamn water. And we don't have enough already.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we need data centers. Australia has so much land and no water.
Our governments are working against us actively.
Yeah.
Like they're jamming it down our fucking throats. That's what I'm same thing with security cameras here in our country. Like I just had a giant argument with people because they're just like, you got to understand, we want to put some cameras in front of this elementary school. And I'm like, why can't the cops be there? Why can't, like, you're concerned about people getting hit? Why can't we change the roadway? Why can't we do literally anything other than add cameras that increase risk for my community, for trans people, of marginalized communities? And these people are just like, they don't care. They just like, your concerns are, we don't care. Like they just will say it to your fucking face that you seem crazy. And
and even while there's people out there like the Ben Jordan guy who does all these videos about the
flock security cameras.
Flock security cameras, that's what it was. I was thinking Palantir, but it's one in the same.
I mean, it all goes into the same shit at the end of the day, you know, like,
and it's like, I mean, his videos truly show you how dystopian this shit is, and still nobody cares. Like, this is the thing that puzzles me about the United States. This is the country that always says, over my cold dead hands, my domestic enemies. Are they not there? And what's happening? Where is everybody? I don't understand. Like, where is this fervor that happened when there was actually no threat? Now there's a threat. Where's the push? You know, I don't get it. Like, where is it all gone?
We're seeing that America is a far more pacified and disorganized country than anybody ever imagined. That's what I see. I see American atomization. I see people, like, I'm trying to get more people in like our rapid response groups. Like a year ago, I tried to get people into a rapid response group. When Trump like went in, I went door to door in my community. I knocked 20 doors plus, and I got 2 people to join me. And suddenly Renee Good, 2 white people die in Minneapolis. And like, suddenly people want to like get some percentage of people want to get organized, but it's only the people that are already like, they're in PTAs. They're already kind of doing some levels of organizing. Friend, what are you doing? I got a friend hanging out with me more. Speaking of which, like I'm helping bring trans people into this community, like literally trans refugees from other communities. That's where my mind is. And other people are like, we want to put this camera up. Like their heads are just in the sand, and they will not come out because Americans are so comfortable. They're so used to like being able to put their head down and the TikTok of our government. You know, of just like Republicans are going to hurt you, but then the Democrats are just like the pressure release valve where you get to feel like something is at least I'm not getting oppressed anymore, right?
I
but
mean,
it's like never not go forward.
Yeah, exactly. Like, is it not perfectly displayed by the behavior of the Democrats and Chuck Schumer that they don't care
Somebody
about
has
Americans?
to do something.
Like it just
we're all looking for the guy who's fucking everyone's lives up. Yeah, the shutdown. So my ex-wife was a government worker, and so I lived through multiple the previous longest government shutdown was right when me and my ex-wife had bought a home, and we had literally put out all of our fucking money and stretched our fucking pennies, and we were so like, we never had kids because we made the choice to have a fucking house, because in America, you don't get the American dream. You have to pick and choose which amounts of the American dream. And we chose to be happy in a home with some pets. But like, then the government shut down for 2 months, and we were in a financial crisis at that point that was extremely stressful, on top of her being forced to go to work and effectively threatened that, hey, you're not getting paid. We get it. But also, we don't give a shit. And we're going to, if you call in sick, we're going to remember this, and we might fucking fire you. And like, I'm like, fuck them. Like, air travel is not what it was in the 1970s. If you shut the airwaves down, you would get fucking changes. Things would happen. Like, but all the unions even are there. The corruption that we're seeing at the Democratic Party, it's seeped into the tendrils of every established organization. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand, and why I'm so focused on building new shit, because the old shit is insufficient and it can never be reformed to truly be what is going to get us out of the crises, the economic crisis, the ecological crises that are fucking coming up. It will never meet the moment fast enough. We have to just start building with the people who are ready to build it, and the ones that are never gonna, like, they're just gonna have to come to it when they figure it out. Like, some people are very committed to the system, right? They believe in capitalism. All the democratic socialists and even DSA people, like, DSA is like so much farther to the right than what I am at this point, you know, like, and I don't see them coming that close soon enough. It's going to require fucking pain, and that sucks. Yeah. But yeah, that's why my content is talking
we've
to
been
people
trying to
who
organize
know.
for years now, and like, no progress has been made with us. Like, we've tried, and not only that, like, when we do make progress, like when I first grew our Instagram, it grew so fast and it was new that they thought we were a bot, that they permanently flagged us, so now it can't get growth. YouTube, we qualified for like getting ads because it was a YouTube channel that I already had, and so I already had monetization, but I lost it because they changed policy. And then literally we were at the point where we could qualify for monetization, and we were covering the Houthis, and they said that we were promoting terrorism. Now we can't get monetized ever on that main channel. And like, they make you do a little course. I'm not sure if you've ever been flagged on YouTube, but they make you do training.
Oh, wow.
And,
no, I've never gotten that.
And in the training, it literally gives an example saying that it's okay to show terrorist material if you're explaining how they make it. And it's like, then why are we flagged? Because that's literally what we were doing.
Going back and forth with YouTube support to get told to go fuck myself.
So all these systems, and that's what I mean, right? And even looking at YouTube, like, that's the shitty part. Like, I leave ads on YouTube for now to get the money, but like, I tell people, I'm like, I would, if they took the money away, I would still make YouTube videos as long as I can get through to somebody, as long as it doesn't get fucking black holed. Like, that's why I left TikTok. TikTok got to a point where like, I literally couldn't post normal shit without other people reporting it. And a lot of these systems are just extremely easy to weaponize. And all of these right-wing groups, like, there are dark money groups that are funding people that are making content out of going to channels and fucking attacking them. Literally, they coordinate on Twitter right there in the open, and they don't care. Again, doxing and harassment are totally allowed openly on platforms. And yet we are to have conversations about that, to like this is all against the algorithm. So yeah, we have to even prepare for that world. I'm getting ready to put up a website because I am preparing for the day that like I have to just like communicate to people in my community, and like I can really only get it out to people I physically know, you know, on the ground. And I think other people aren't thinking about that. Like they're imagining a world where YouTube always exists and it's always going to let us say like to speak negatively about our government, and like even with the level of suppression that already exists, which is massive. Like YouTube has always been so tilted towards police violence because it doesn't let you show it. And I've had videos where it's like you get the 18+ rating just because you're showing what cops have done to other fucking people and you're breaking it down. And it's just like, yeah, like we're already on the back foot on these platforms. And, but even trying to get people off Discord is like difficult because it's just like the convenience of what people have. Like we're just so trained towards convenience, and Americans are so not used to trying harder or taking the harder path. They're so used to selling their privacy, selling their data away for convenience. And it's just, it's coming to a head. And like the communities that, like, again, I'm very connected to the trans community, and it's like, that's why I'm radicalized, because everyone around me, every day I wake up, and like when a new law is passed, like Idaho just yesterday passed a law that said 5 years if a trans person walks into the wrong fucking bathroom, they can go to prison for 5 fucking years. It is a felony now. That passed the House. It hasn't, but very likely this is going to sail through the rest of their fucking government. But like every time that happens, trans people feel this psychic oppression, right? Even if you're not in that state. And it's because it's just, you feel the walls closing in, and they keep coming, and they're not stopping. And unlike ICE, which I can see people getting in rapid response groups and fucking trying, there is nobody talking about trans shit. I don't hear anybody doing shit here about it. And that's my main concern. And that's the next video I'm making, is talking about that, because yeah, it's just, nobody cares. Like,
yeah,
no,
we really wanted to do like a alternate media thing that's not controlled by capitalist interest and stuff, but like you fight against the algorithm the whole time, and it makes it pretty much impossible to do anything.
Yeah, you got to build your own servers. You got to store your data yourself. You got to spread the word yourself. Like, we're really slowly getting into that world, and that's what I'm focused on. We're behind now, but you know what? In a year, I can have all that shit done. I've already got a Matrix server set up, which is way more secure than Discord ever fucking was. And yeah, I just stopped using my Discord account this week. I built a Discord community of 3,500 people.
What's funny, we were watching a video, and I sent you a message on Discord, unpaused, and you were like, I'm getting off Discord. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I realized that I have to lead by example, because I talk to all the kids there, and so many of them are like young queer kids. And I'm like, you are the one. I'm impacted because government is absolutely monitoring everything I fucking do. It's going into a folder somewhere, and they're just waiting for the moment they can just like flip that switch and like come after me. And I'm literally just racing them to build power in my community to continue to raise the bar of like, oh, if we go after this guy, man, it's going to be a fucking pain in the ass. He's going to be a fucking total dick. I was in handcuffs like 3 weeks ago because I ran. There was a cop car in front of me, an unmarked cop car, and he was driving like a fucking asshole. Like, he blew through a fucking right turn only and was speeding. And I was like, okay, whatever, dude. And I just blew 5 stoplights in front of him and then stopped for a taco. And they fucking rolled up with 3 cars, put me in fucking cuffs. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? And they're like, you're reckless driving, blah, blah, blah. And I just let them fucking have it. I was like, y'all are fucking wasting my fucking time. Do you not have anything better to do on a fucking Friday night? Which one of you supports ICE? Why are you not stopping? And they just like, I went off on them for 10 fucking minutes. And literally they called the lieutenant, and I told him that I saw him driving like shit too. And I'm like, also, you were fucking driving like a dangerous dickhead. Don't fucking talk to me about driving reckless.
Do you have a camera on your?
Oh yeah. I told
so
him
you
that.
have it on camera?
And the lieutenant comes over after 10 minutes. I'm like, oh great, this fucking guy. And he's like, you had anything to drink tonight, sir? And I'm like, no, fuck you. And you know what? I don't like the way this conversation is going. I'm going to shut my fucking mouth. Do whatever you're going to do. And then they walk over to my bike. They come back and they say, and the tall dickhead dude that pulled me over was like, you're right, sir. We do have too much to do tonight. You know, we got better things to do. So we're going to let you go. But, you know, look for a ticket in the mail, which I never got. But I have absolutely ordered that fucking body cam footage that both of them got. And I can't wait to post that shit. But they are slow rolling me on purpose. Anyway,
wait, you can just FOIA body cam footage?
Yep. Yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, so this is me realizing that we are very much in an oppositional direction with like people like me who know what the cops are doing and speak out very directly. Like, we're playing a fucking game, and I am protected by the fact that I am continuing to like connect to activist people and like get more people involved that will absolutely create a fucking ruckus. But other people don't realize that. So many of the liberal-minded people around me, what they are worried most about is just like the basic trappings. Like I posted about we did a firearms training, and I posted the firearms training inside of our community chat, a larger community chat. It's like, hey, if anybody's interested, I would be happy you can reach out to us. And it made people uncomfortable to even talk about it in a larger, fully open Signal chat, because they're afraid that I'm going to get got and they're going to get got, because that is how people are thinking. They are white, wealthy, liberal people. That is what they are focused on now. They are not focused on anything that is actually going to challenge power.
Trump pass legislation saying trans people couldn't get guns, or was that a specific
No, they're
state?
talking about it, and
Yeah,
and
they are
actually,
talking about it.
Yeah, I mean they are trying to do that, right? They looked at the Charlie Kirk thing and they're trying to connect that guy to trans people. They want to disarm trans people. And in fact, what's really scary for me is that I'm in King County, but the county south of me, Pierce, which is Tacoma, maybe 25 minutes from my house here up in the north side, that sheriff specifically said on Facebook that he wanted to disarm trans people, that trans people shouldn't have should potentially have their guns scrutinized. So like we literally have law enforcement in our community doing this, and he is part of a larger group that comes together of Washington State law enforcement whatevers, and they had a meeting with Michael Flynn 2 months ago. Yeah, and where he's talking about all the same Michael Flynn shit of 5G warfare, and he is literally like trying to recruit them into the, like it's all breaking, like, and that's what I'm seeing that other people are not seeing, and they're just totally discounting, and like they act like the state is going to protect us, and like again, they're white wealthy people, so probably, but yeah, like that's where we're at, and so that's why me and my crew, like, we are just focused on doing our own thing. Every time we run into resistance with a group, we just say, okay, like that's your strategy. You do your thing. If it's opposed to us, we'll oppose you, but if not, like, cool, do your, we'll just try to stay out of each other's way. But there's not enough in communities outside of here. There's even less organizing happening. And that's why I keep making videos about it to try to help people see. And I get so many great comments about it. Like the comments I get now are better than they've ever been.
Oh, is it live?
Yeah.
Is it streaming? That's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We ended up live streaming.
We'll do it live. Hey,
that's fine.
That's cool. If you
Well,
give
we
me a
did the
link, I'll
serial
post
one
it on
live
Blue
anyway,
Sky
so-
or whatever, and people can come see if you want.
Because we'll edit it
hang
down
on.
and post it later as a more.
I mean, really, all I would do is put the intro and outro on it and then post it.
Okay. I guess we don't have any chatters, so that's fine. Okay. Either way.
Yeah, like I said, we're so small because we keep getting handicapped.
Okay. Anyway, this kind of leads on to sort of. So I wanna kind of know how you because you said 2016. So between the time that you left high school and 2016, how political were you, and how involved were you actually like in politics? What were you consuming? Like, sort of, what formed your worldview to the point that you were like transphobe to ally?
Yeah, I was, so like I said, in 2016, I was kind of just beginning my process. I had never really thought about politics, like, just sincerely. I was one of the people that was like, it's a lot. I don't know. I don't want to do a bad, like, my thought process is like, I don't want to be someone voting really stupidly. So like, I've always voted, but like the last Democrat I voted for was Obama. I voted for Bernie in 2016 in Washington State because my vote didn't fucking matter one way or another.
We didn't even get to vote for Bernie.
Oh, really?
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was over by the time it came. I hate primaries for this reason. It was over by the time it came to New York. And New York is one of the most important blue states. So why is it so far down in the primary?
And looking back now to what they did for him in 2022 is just like knowing, looking back and seeing that connection is like even more angering and frustrating. But that kind of started my process. So then I'm doing like political hobbyism, right? I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm listening. I'm hearing. I'm realizing like if somebody asks, like I'm anti. I don't want to be racist. I'm like personally not racist. I have like queer friends. I've got POC friends. I grew up like playing a lot of athletics in a pretty diverse community down in Vancouver, Washington, and like. Yeah, but if somebody said, "Hey, why shouldn't we be racist?" I could not have answered that question in any intelligible way, right? So very, very liberal. And then over time, as I get into the Vosh content and like, what is communism? What is socialism? Like, I start actually reading books and I start reading theory. I read the Communist Manifesto. I read Che Guevara's fucking guerrilla warfare. I read Mao. I haven't done enough anarchist reading, but I started reading, David Graeber and things like things that are more about anthropology, and then realizing, and that's been more current. But 2020 was when I went
anthropology
to the
is so slept on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when it's not slept on, it's sometimes like interpreted wrong by racists and shit.
Yep. It becomes ethnic, eugenics and shit. But yeah, like
Master race shit.
Yeah. The 2020, the CHOP, like seeing that protest was very activating for me because it was like, wow, I'm really pissed off at the cops. That's like a very universal, I can articulate a million reasons that in 2020, after, 2 years after my whole suing the cops shit, I can firmly articulate all the many reasons I hate police and why I think it needs to be burned to the ground. So I get to the CHOP and like, wow, there's all these people who feel exactly the same as me. And it's like trans people and POC and women. And it's like that realization, like, oh, I need to be like in these communities. I need to be more connected to these people. And that really, yeah, that was like a hugely, a big moment. And then when, after 2016, like I didn't know anything about trans people either. But as I talk about in my Transphobe to Trans Ally video, I opened up a Discord in 2019, like right before George Floyd and all that, like after all my cop shit happened. And it just happened to be a trans person joined and like kind of went through a transition in that. And that built so much empathy and they talked about getting bottom surgery and like realizing like trans people don't question this, like as much as the arguments are like, oh, the children will be confused or whatever, like that is just not the reality for the trans experience. Trans people often like super, super young are like, I feel different. I am not the same as my peers. And like building that reality, like, oh man, why don't we have systems that help people understand their gender bender? Why are we gatekeeping all this shit? And then realizing the pain that comes along with the gender dysphoria of your body not matching, like basically feeling like you need to look so fucking different to be treated as what you want to be in society. And I'm just going to use the trans femme because I'm very surrounded by trans femme people mostly, but I know lots of trans women, trans men too. But like the trans femme experience is just wanting to look like a woman externally for safety reasons, for so many reasons, because people just treat you different, but your voice doesn't sound right. And there's so much insecurity. And I care. And I'm like, wow, there's no reason people should feel so unsafe and so outed in communities. Like it sucks that like, even just and then I met my partner, well, that's later, but like after like getting with a trans person, that has totally evolved me like so much farther past even that. But like that experience made me want to speak out and say, I am tired of, and I'm in the motorcycle community. And that was also my realization that I could exist in motorcycle communities where people are, using F slurs and people are using edgy language. Like I can exist. I've played sports. I've been in hypermasculine. Like it doesn't bother me. But I could never bring my queer friends. I could never bring my ex-wife. And like that grated on me. And that was why I was like, I guess I got to create my own space. And that space needs to be very explicit that actually we support trans people in this community. And when I did that and when I made that video, I was totally unprepared for there to be just thousands of like queer women, trans people that were like waiting for a space, someone to say like, actually, you can totally come hang out with me, like, and they just really appreciated that. And that, like, those people have just totally enriched my life. And that's why I'm like surrounded by trans people now. And like, yeah, like they're smart, they're capable. Like it just builds up my anger that they're so fucked with, like, yeah, but it changed my life. I really call that video the one that totally changed my life.
Like in the process of me doing this whole thing with John is learning a lot about America and its history and how it's operated and how it's gone through eras and how it's treated non-Protestant, non-white people within the country. And you start to very quickly realize that all of these things are very connected and it's just a reskinned version of the last iteration of it. Like going all the way back to slavery, not to like be stereotypical or anything, but like going all the way back to slavery, like the slave catchers turn into, I can't remember exactly what the job was, but the
police. They became police.
I mean, it was essentially the police where they would essentially enforce segregation between the communities. And it's like these people were literally hunting down people who ran away from slavery, and now they're enforcing the state's rules. for a
Well, then
paycheck,
you
nonetheless.
go to like, I talk about with New York, right? So like in New York City, you'll constantly see Irish and Italian cops that say they're like fifth generation cops, right?
Oh,
And so like
hate it.
the reason why that happened was because the Irish and the Italians were settled between the black ghetto and the white affluence. And so they've always been a buffer to keep minorities away from these affluent people. And they eventually just become the enforcement to enforce this line of segregation. And
yeah, it's sold on safety, but it's actually about property. It's always been about property, and that's at its core, right? I mean, people don't realize that the South was effectively a giant prison colony. That's really what it was. That was the economy between the North and the South when that happened. It wasn't anything close to the same thing. Like the North was a industrializing like area, but again, you can go up closer, right? The civil rights era. You're totally right. Everything is reheated. Like after the Civil War, after we abolished slavery, Reconstruction was just totally stopped. Just like with the Nazis, like we just rehabilitated slave owners. All of those people with power just kind of like let go, and it just goes underground more, right? And then it slowly rebuilds power, and it comes back, and then like the communities that are impacted have to build power too, and then we finally got rid of the Jim Crow laws, and like. But like, I think the fact that one of the things that Destiny said, like when he was making his arguments that blew me away, that I didn't think of, it was like, hey man, like there are people alive today that had to drink at a different fucking water fountain. What do you mean slavery is gone? What do you mean racism doesn't fucking exist? How do you not have, you have to be able to systemically look back and realize our past and everything is all connected, but like American institutions, I went through the American public education system. I can tell you there was absolutely like, I didn't read history or anything. It was all just boring, like memorized facts, right? That's all they cared about. It was never about learning values. It was about jingoism. Like I hate hearing the fucking Pledge of Allegiance. Like I hated doing it every day in school.
Written by a communist.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I hated it. I had to, when we did the city council meeting, they do the fucking Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm like, this is disgusting. I'm not fucking putting my like, anyway. But like that was what was critical, and like I had to choose to read history, and like the cool thing, and I think the reason I have hope is that people go from being a Christian nationalist to being a leftist. I am surrounded by people who grew up in very religious households, oppressive households, and then found their way out and like are now part of and doing amazing things. People that were part of the military who were, probably not Graham Plattler level, but like people who were into it and then realized, oh fuck, this is really bad, and now are like working to atone for crimes that they feel like that guilt and sin that they feel like they basically just can't get rid of. But like the other way doesn't happen. Nobody goes from being a leftist, an anarchist, a communist, a socialist to being a religious Christian nationalist, because once you have the knowledge, I mean, maybe I'm sure there can't be zero, right? But like you just want, like it is the knowledge and information. It is the expansion of your mind that like makes you immune to those things. And so it's really just about continually getting people to like want to be curious, but like all of these cult systems are designed to prevent you from being curious or to abandon your curiosity and subvert your own judgment to an authority. And like the older I get, just the more clear that is, and how I just want people to critically think for themselves. Don't accept what anybody says without like thinking it through yourself all the way to the lower level principle. That's what I talked about in a recent video. Like my number one thing is like people are still looking to the law, and they're like, I'm still surrounded by people who are like, oh, you're not running a license plate on your motorcycle? That's really scary. And I'm like, why? They're jamming surveillance equipment down our fucking throat. Anything I can do to reclaim my own personal privacy, like, fuck it. Someone pulls me over and I get a ticket. Who cares? I'll pay that fucking ticket. I will have saved myself lots of tracking. But like, people are not ready to think outside of these frameworks yet because they're not going off of principles. They're going off of kind of this middle level of like, how to think through things. And again, I blame our education system. Like,
yeah.
Even college doesn't. You start to kind of get into that with college, but
I mean,
yeah.
I've been discovering through kind of learning about the US that Australia is pretty goddamn bad, and nobody talks about it. I'm seeing a lot of rhetoric saying that the last 50 years are a failed experiment. Do you know what that's a callback to?
No.
When Australia was kidnapping Aboriginal children.
Oh my god! Like Canada almost, like trying to convert them and shit.
Yeah.
Well, we also had the boarding schools. But they would literally go into indigenous communities and just snatch children.
Jesus. And give them to like white families or what?
That's exactly
I mean, we did that here too. They basically did child protective services because the reservations like end up being like, sorry to use a harsh word, but they end up being shitholes where there's litter everywhere, and that's just how it's designed. So then the state sends their child protective services rep in, and there's trash in the yard and all this stuff, and it's now an unsafe thing for the child, so they would remove the child. That continued until the Clinton admin.
Wow. Yeah, make it defund it so much that you create a situation where it gives an excuse to intervene. Totally classic. Yeah.
In Australia, it was a little different because they basically just implemented British standards and said that these people who had been living successfully for 50,000 years on this continent were now unfit to be parents, and they needed to civilize them, is the words that they would use. This existed from day one. It was, so the first policy that Australia ever introduced was a Immigration Exclusion Act only allowing white people into the country. That ended in 1975.
Oh boy. When was Australia a country? Like formalized?
1901.
Okay.
Is when we became a federation.
But it was a colony like back in the 1600s, right?
88.
Okay.
I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more empire, colonialism. Like we are running through this is where we're at in society, like with the global economic climate crisis. Like we got to come together as a global community to get rid of these fucking leaders that we have, which are totally either feckless and incapable of rising to the moment, or are actively accelerating us into nihilistic global destruction for their own selfish ends, because they all believe they're going to get out of it with their wealth and privilege, which they probably will if we don't fucking do anything. Yeah,
well, they'll go to New Zealand and hide in their bunkers.
They'll just bounce between countries, right? Just like how in America, Amazon tried to play different states off of each other to get better tax, better services, to get states to compete for their fucking business. Meanwhile, I can tell you in Seattle, they do not contribute fucking shit to our fucking community other than jobs that are vanishingly smaller. Like there's way less and they're way fucking shittier. And Amazon is a dog shit company to work for. They will only pay you because they are just, again, like it is like perfect. It is tech wage slavery. But yeah, we got to come together because your government sucks. My government sucks. Your Keir Starmer fucking sucks. Like every government, there is no government. We have not invented the right system yet that is just and good for humanity. We haven't figured it out yet. So we all need to be rapidly iterating on new things to get out of it, because unfortunately we don't have the power and people are not waking up fast enough. And like, I've also learned people got to like see something to believe it. And like, they believe in capitalism as much as it sucks ass. They're like, well, it's working and it's here. So
yeah. And the big problem again in Australia is like, people need to see things. And what they see is a lot of people who aren't white Australians. And then you get the fascists saying, well, housing is expensive because of all these non-white people that are here in the country. And they don't look at the fact that the landlord class owns a vast majority of that land, and they're the one who sets the price. On top of that, they also never take into account that the landlords in the cities take advantage of international students, overcharging them for rental properties, which overall raises the price of rentals, because landlords are parasites and they will get as much money as they can. And if somebody is charging $800 a week for a 1-bedroom dog box in the city, that's going to be the new standard. Why wouldn't they? Money. And it's like, people don't think about this, and they're just like, oh, it's the migrants. What?
We can't. Systemic thinking has been bred out of our entire, like, just they do want us to see the systemic, and that's why Luigi Mangione was so great, because he brought very much like attention to a systemic system that people could like, oh yeah, you're right, like that's it. But for whatever reason, like there's people that see it and they're just not doing enough about it. And then there's a lot of people who just want to deny it because it's inconvenient to them. The reason I stopped watching Destiny was because he started excusing Palestinian genocide, and I could not follow him down that path. Like when he was starting to like make up reasons to be like, oh yeah, this airstrike, it killed some innocent people, but like Hamas was in that hospital, right? And I was just like, I'm off this train. I don't trust any of our intelligence. I don't know who to believe. How can I over here be like making choices that say, oh yeah, that was totally justified? Like that, I didn't get to the like, oh no, this is genocide until later, but it was very clear to me that like you are willing to excuse other people's lives and deaths like in a way that I don't think is right. You know, that's like a golden rule situation to me. Yeah. And like, we're not even following the golden rule at that point. Like, I don't want somebody to look at my health distress or like if I just happen to be born there. And I think that makes a lot of Americans uncomfortable. Even my parents, I love my family. My family is filled with amazing, great people. But there are some that are like, they're well off. Like they've got big houses, nice cars. They've always been like, you know, they drive the nice big trucks and stuff. And like, they care about, they speak care to trans people. They treat them kindly personally. Like they're nice in person, but they have friends who are like MAGA, and they have friends that are part of like they're part of the petite bourgeoisie class, right? They're small business owners. Like they're kind of in that higher level echelon of your local community that a lot of people get into, which gives you more access. And like, yeah. And like, they are in this moment, you know, me getting fired from Nordstrom, like at no point have they offered to like help me, you know, at no point. And I've very expressly been like, hey, things are getting really bad. Things are like difficult. Like, what are you doing in your community? Like, have you looked into it? And they're just like, nope, we're good. Everything's fine in our community. And then, but as I talk more, I realize, oh, they're going to church. Oh, what's your pastor saying about what's going on? They're just saying there's evil people and God will get them. And that's it. And that's the whole thing. Like that's there. Again, it's like, stop. There are all these systems and all these authorities that are telling people, stop, don't worry. Like we're going to figure it out. And like, but again, like neoliberalism has taught people this is the end of the world. Nothing can ever change. We're always going to be in the back and forth. Yeah. But that's not this time. Not this time. Everything is fucking changing. And it started with tariffs. Tariffs started the process of totally reshaping the entire global economy in ways that we will never come back from. And Americans have, again, working for Apple taught me how much, again, that supply chain, right? Like how 10% more on China, which went way higher, went to like 25%. Wow, we make every technical electronic component over there. The entire supply chain is over there, and you cannot move that back to America. And Steve Jobs said that back in 2010 that you can't do that, and nothing, and it has only gotten more entrenched. And Americans will deny that forever because, because
the problem is like even if you wanted to do the tariffs, you have to set up the business beforehand. And I'm pretty sure Biden was setting it up to do so. Yeah. And then Trump just torpedoed it and was like, haha, tariffs. They're like, what? You're supposed to set shit up before you do protectionism. What are you talking about? There's no manufacturing there. It's like the MAGA equivalent in Australia is currently doing this protectionist shit because of the Iranian thing. And I'm like, we have no manufacturing. We have 2 refineries. How the fuck are we going to produce fuel when we have 2 goddamn refineries? Like, what is wrong with you? Use your brain. And I think it's because, like, the problem is that I think fascists have realized that they need that international support. So I'm seeing a lot of the fascists here repeat US and European rhetoric because they've joined forces to try and spread this shit. And it's like, I saw a video from Ireland the other day of some fascist trying to do like anti-migrant stuff to people, and it was just a bunch of old Irish people like going, "Fuck you! I'm an internationalist. Go fuck yourself. Bring more of them here." And it's like, I'm pretty sure that's the answer. We need internationalism more than we need nationalism, and it's like, the time of nationalism is dead. That's why this is fascist, because it's trying to bring back something that is gone. It's not coming back. Like, the world you grew up in is dead. Like, come back to reality. We talk about this on stream all the time, where it's like, it's a chain of disinformation that they've just been fed this shit. And John did this with me to like unravel. I was just about to say,
let's get into 2 stories of de-radicalization, because I want to have Jack talk about how he used to be pretty right-wing and the things that he went through, and see if you have similar experiences with him.
Yeah,
because it's like, it's because I want to say it was Steven Crowder. Thinking about it now, I want to say that was the first thing I sort of got introduced to as like a 19-year-old, which is pretty much like their target demographic, right?
Yeah. How old do you know, roughly?
30-ish.
Okay. So a decade ago. Yeah. So like me, right around 2015, 2016, like that ballpark.
At the same time, yeah.
Yeah.
14. And I was kind of on the Gamergate thing because I would say I was a libertarian for a while. And when I say libertarian, I'm not saying like libertarian in today's sense where they're just fascists that claim that they're
just pedophiles.
Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of thing. They're arguing for age of consent and whatever like that. It was literally leave me the fuck alone and I'll leave you the fuck alone kind of attitude. And I think I want to credit that for the reason that I never sank too far into it. Like I've like you, I've never really been racist. Like I don't really care. Like okay. And as I've grown up, I've become more.
It's more of like, it's not a conscious racism, you know?
Yeah. Systemic. It's like that you might still be in, right? It's invisible to you, race blind, maybe. Like
that's a good way to describe it. I just didn't know. I didn't care. I didn't know. It didn't impact me. So I never, like we've been talking about. And as I watched that, I guess with Crowder, the algorithm recommended me other stuff, and I ended up getting into some like the Gamergate stuff and a lot of those like feminist owned compilation shit, and like people mostly along that line where it was like a lot of anti-feminist stuff. So thinking about it now, I kind of, maybe that's why I was maybe easier to convince that who gives a shit, because I've been exposed to the rhetoric. I've been exposed to the content. I was watching the videos as they presented them, hearing the arguments, but agreeing more with what they were saying against it. But they're still exposing you to the content. So thinking about it now, that's probably a pretty good avenue. I also did a gender studies class in 2017, I want to say. And that was very interesting because I was the only guy in the class.
I bet.
And
but that's a good place to get a date, maybe, if you're good, if you're paying attention,
I don't know. I think about it now, I'm kind of glad that I never really had any relationships during this time. Thank God.
Yeah.
Like that's thinking about it now is probably a good thing. But like around Charlottesville, a few people were just like, that's cool. Fuck yeah. And I was like,
wow.
I don't think so. So I kind of was like, nah, get the fuck away from me. So I was moving away from it at that point, but I still kind of like made the argument for Donald Trump and the whole like both sides shit, sort of
against the elite,
buying into
right?
the rhetoric.
Break down the hegemony, right? Like, let's get out of this back and forth, right? I think that's I wasn't alarmed by Trump. Like, I was entertained by him in 2015, and then it became clear he was going to be the nominee. That's when I got scared because I was like, oh fuck, actually we're dumber and more manipulable as a society than I thought, you know, and a lot of people, right? Like, I think that it's easy for us. I think about like misogyny is like a very easy thing, I think, for men to get on board with, like subtle misogyny, right? Like women be shopping, right? Like that's my bitch wife,
women drivers.
Yeah, exactly, right. There's
asking
so many
a chick with a motorbike whose bike is that.
Yeah, especially and like misogyny is just very, I think, very easy in male communities. And like, I think when you open the door to even one type of like bias like that, it just makes other shit so much easier.
Sure.
And when you haven't thought all the way through it, you know, it's just easy to adopt that. I still listen occasionally to a podcast called The Dick Show, which I've been following since like 2015, and it's a comedian. Maddox was a part of even before I listened to like the Biggest Problem one, and you know, like they had like political debates, and like that was also part of my process, because Dick Masterson, the head of that, is like, he was a libertarian and like, or described that as it, but like you said, like he became just more fascist. Like he started talking about fuck the police, why are we giving the government all of our money and shit, and like I connected with all that, why are we spending it on war, right? Isolationism, all that. But over time, like he's also a Hispanic guy, and one of the things I've realized is there's a lot of internalized like hate for like your own culture and all of that is driving a lot of ICE. Like a lot of the ICE dudes are brown. They're not white people. There's plenty of white people, but like not there's a lot of not white people.
I mean,
and
look at how this was reinforced when the shooting in Allen, Texas happened. The guy was Hispanic with like Nazi insignia all over him, and people like Tim Pool and the redheaded libertarian.
This is years ago.
This is a couple years ago, yeah.
But it was a guy. He was at a it was like a strip mall, outlet mall.
You talking about Christopher Dorner? Was it that guy?
No. This was I want to say maybe 2023.
It was Allen, Texas, and but the guy literally had a swastika tattooed on him.
Oh wow!
But because he was Mexican, even Elon Musk went and said something like, "Can't be a white supremacist because he's brown."
And and it's like there was literally a disinformation campaign from the right wing that this couldn't possibly be a Nazi, and we dug through his social media and literally used maps to track his movements inside Allen, Texas, and tracking everything. And everything was verifiable. Everything was findable. And these people, Tim Pool, the redheaded libertarian, people like this, were going around.
Yeah, Tim Pool's literally like right there.
One of the people that
in his background. And Tim Pool will deny it to this day.
Had a literal personal interest in this disinformation, sent out an agent on behalf of him as well to spread disinformation to hundreds of thousands of people. It's fucking crazy. And nobody talks about this. I swear we're the only ones who still bring this up.
Yeah, well, it's because it's not violence, right? Like violence is what breaks through the algorithms, right? We have built a shock culture, a culture that craves violence and craves spectacle and craves novelty and craves that dopamine burst. Like I can tell you that it's so disappointing. The more it sucks, but it's like I realize how much short form content, how many people talking to Cam Higbee, I learned that like these people get all of their information in 1 to 3 minute shorts. All of it. If it cannot be contained in that, and they will not do additional reading or anything. And so it's like, and they form a very strong opinion about what they feel from that, you know? And like, you know, it's the classic Garfield. It's like, you are not immune to propaganda. People have the propaganda, just like in being an American culture and like our American exceptionalism, like we are so drenched, every country, like every nation and as people, like we are, class consciousness is super low because we're just drenched in other things that justify like shitty things as that's normal. Well, that's just how it is. That's just the way life is. That's the best we can do. And it's just the Christchurch shooting, right? That guy said fucking Ben Shapiro. He's like, watch Ben Shapiro right before he went fucking mowed all those people down. And it's like the same thing. Like Ben backing that up. It's like, no, they're going to go back and say trans people are the problem because one guy wrote fucking Bella Ciao or whatever on fucking, or, you know,
and now every mass shooter is trans.
And they'll back solve, right? Like, and that's what I try to explain to all the people in my rapid responses. They're like freaking out about getting caught by the police. I'm like, what you need to understand is like, they're going to attack you based on how effective you are at gumming up their works. Like the people down it actually physically putting their bodies in front of ICE, they do not want that. They want you to let them steal these people as easily as possible because they want to deport people as fast as possible. That's who they're going to go after. If you're sitting in your fucking house having conversations about the Trump administration being bad, you are not a threat to them in any way. You are calculated into that. And like, people don't get any of that. You know, they're just, the fear works on them. We're trained to just watch the TV. But I'm glad to know what brought you out of it. That's kind of like, I think is always the most interesting thing.
So mostly John.
Meeting somebody.
But I would say, so post Charlottesville, I moved away from kind of the American content that was kind of condoning Charlottesville, and I moved towards like British. So like Sargon of Akkad, Count Dankula, that kind of shit is more what my content was filtered around. And then Temple came into it. That was a while until maybe 2021, I want to say. Completely buying into that shit. Then COVID happened. I joined a group that I tried to do a journalistic thing while I was in school. All of those people are essentially the fascists that I was talking about in Australia earlier. They've all basically become that, which is great because it's great seeing people who were claiming to be libertarians now being Christian nationalists. What a turn. But basically, John came into that group as well.
At the time, I was investigating libertarian movements. So I got in a bunch of different groups with libertarians and tried to de-radicalize people inside those groups.
And it worked, at least for somebody. You got at least one.
Yeah. And
awesome.
my friend who is now living in the US with her husband, I believe now, she was also on that kind of like actual libertarian streak. So she's literally get the fuck away from me kind of person. And I'm fine with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're conspiratorial about the government and you want to leave people alone and you're actually serious about it. I'm cool with that. I don't give a shit about anything else.
The people like Tim Pool, they adapt. Like that's the thing about that's the thing, and that they just are constantly, and like that was unclear to me. And it took time, right? You have to like watch those people and you have to watch them change. That's how the Dick Show got. That's how my comedy podcast got, right? Is like starts here, but then as policies go down, it's like they don't, they just are like cool with it. It doesn't impact
comedy
them.
Podcasts are like what gave us Trump again at this point.
Yeah. A lot of them don't want to admit it too.
No, and like I mean, it's very cathartic watching Joe Rogan say, "Oh, this isn't good," right? But also, like, he's still saying "fuck." He's still dropping COVID misinformation. He's still dropping like really.
He's the first place I heard of libs of TikTok from.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and he's so anti-trans. He's such a fucking transphobic piece of shit. Like, and yeah, like sports is the thing I fucking am just like I hate now. After playing it and enjoying it and like watching football and loving it for so long, like I don't give a fuck about any of it. And I hate anyone who like, I don't hate them, but like I have a strong reaction when people seem to give a shit a lot about sports because it's like, it's all gambling now. Like even the trappings of like giving a fuck about like the actual mechanics and what is happening in the game is just so much down the fucking shitter compared to, can I make money off this? Am I winning? Like, am I winning my little fucking bets? and like everything has become capitalism and extraction, and like, yeah, like Americans are just kind of going along with it because all these other people that are willing to adapt to it and trying to like looking out for their own, all the misinformation people, like the fact that there's a total ecosystem for these people of like dark money. Now we're seeing Israel like openly saying they're paying American influencers to make content. We are finding like Kat Abagazela in Illinois, like there were Democratic people were like getting paid to fucking talk shit about her, you know, like people do not understand how much propaganda and how much all of these systems and the social media networks are absolutely trying to drive them into a very specific hole. And it's, again, another reason why I'm trying to like very much get people to see the online world as its own unique thing that is like not reality, that is internet reality. And then there's the real world. And we should have serious conversations more in the real world, because in the real world, we're going to disagree about less. You know, we're not going to disagree about what the weather is, right? We got to live in that shared reality. And it's so much easier to have conversations about, you know, like Cam Higme's not going to get in my fucking Shoreline group where we're bitching about flock cameras. They don't care about that. You know, like they care about violence in the streets. That's what they want to show people. They want to show Trantifa, right? Like they've actively tried to target me, at FBI me, like to get them to come after me because I am willing to say, like to be a very staunch person, to walk in front of a guy and fucking tell him he's a fucking Nazi to his face and not give a shit if he gets me fired. That is terrifying to these people. But there's not enough people in America who are ready to put their jobs on the line, because it does. You will get fucking fired because there's so many tech workers available there. And again, they don't care about the quality. They want compliance more than anything else. And like, that's going to keep going. And people are just not looking far enough down the road. We're on the train. We can't get off. And like, that's the part I see right now, is getting people to see the big picture of how we're on this very reckless road and we can't get off of it. And now is the time to like really dig the fuck in.
Yeah. Because I think it was probably a year before we both got kicked out of this group as well.
Which group?
The one that I was in Australia.
Oh yeah.
So we recorded a thing on Osama bin Laden because I was trying to do a podcast at the same time. So we did that, and I think that's when we started talking. And slowly he would just point out a few things that was like, what they're saying is bullshit. And then, being the person that I am, I say things. Like if somebody says some dumb shit, I'm gonna say something. So it's like I started contesting what they were saying, and they did not like that. And then because I was because I'm the one that went to school for journalism, I'm the one that wrote because I was also writing news at the time, just sort of local news stories, no bullshit kind of news. And basically they didn't comprehend journalistic standards, and they didn't like a few things when I'm like, you need evidence to make this claim. So they kind of kicked me out because they didn't like that I was doing my job as an editor.
Yeah, that you
which
didn't
kind
just
of really blew the lid off
for
everything. Because at the end of the day, if you're questioning me, asking you for more evidence for a claim, what's that tell you?
Yeah. Are you too busy? Is that why? Is this conversation? That's kind of, in my Discord, people would have a lot of arguments in this way, where it was like, it was a lot of like, I'm saying this, okay, well, I'm counting this claim with that, and they'd go back and forth. But at no point were there links like sent out, right? At no point are people like, hey, where's the core question? Did your thing happen or did my thing happen? People were just talking past each other. And like, that is why the internet is so bad for communication. Like written communication is already like difficult to convey tone and text, and like you're losing so much. And like, but again, as people, like we're trained more and more people are being trained to have all these arguments online with people in a worse communication method because they feel like, again, they want to have it to the world. They want to have it with lots of people. But it's like, you need to scope down your conversations, and you need to be focused on, who do I need to be having conversations with? What do I need to be having them about to move the fucking needle? And that's why when I was in my flock, this argument I was having about deploying these automatic license plate readers in my community, just to like be a safety thing to improve safety for kids walking across the streets during a very specific time of the day in front of this elementary school. And I'm like, why are we so dead set on the fucking cameras? Can we not build a roadway that is safer? Can we not build a fucking thing over the top? That's the conversation we need to be having about. And like, I put my shit out there, but it's like, okay, you're not changing your mind. I'm not changing your mind. Okay. Then when we go to City Hall, we're just going to kind of be against each other. And like, I need to know that these are going to be your talking points, and I need to speak directly to that. And I also need to know that like, you're on the side of power. Like, the cops are just going to get these anyway. I'm very aware that the city council is just going to jam this. We're never going to be able to stop it. And it's like, but because
they always use kids. And
they will always, and it always goes back to the fear mongering, and it always goes back to security theater. And again, that's important, right? Because we're learning, I can't work with that person. I've given them every opportunity to like give a shit, and they're not going to do it. I need to not waste my time. I need to focus on building power, either a separate crew to like do something about that, and we're going to come together, or I need to pick a different battle and I'm going to pick a different battle because I'm going to let other people worry about that. Because I don't think I can I think I'm more important helping the trans people in my community, getting people moved, because so many of them need to get the fuck out of the Kansas shit happening of invalidating people's licenses. That's fucking crazy. And actually, I personally know somebody who they don't live in Kansas. They live here, but Kansas invalidated their birth certificate because their birth certificate was changed after transition, and they've invalidated because the verbiage is what you were at birth. So it's like, now in Seattle, it's like a fucking problem, because if she needs to use that document somehow, she's got to figure out anyway. But it's just like, that's what I'm focused on. I can help those people, and I guess we're just gonna have to wait for material conditions to keep going down for some of these people to get on board. And also, you know what? I've seen a lot of fun people just take those little hacksaws to those fucking different, and just, I think it seems to only take like a minute or two, or like a rock, it's actually really easy to sabotage these things. And I read a book. Have y'all read the book, How to Blow Up a Pipeline?
No.
I know of it.
I highly recommend it. Very motivating book. It was the one that gave me the idea. It talked about a protest in India for people that were these giant gas guzzling vehicles. There's like an eco protest, and people would take a little pebble and they would just take the cap off, and they'd put it on the stem, and they'd put that cap down, and over time it would create a slow leak that would just flatten people's tires. And they would put a little thing in their wiper that said, hey, this is what happened. Like, we would really appreciate if you gave more of a shit about the wider world to like get rid of your gas guzzling car and help the community. And like, but it was very much talking about direct action and how simple and easy sabotage is in our world. Like, with so many of us, like, the security and systems are just nowhere close to being able to actually protect things from people who are having just even a nominal amount of thought through this. But we don't. We're a sedated people, and that's why the propaganda and the fascist fear, it fucking works. So that's we got to break down. We got to demonstrate. And you know what? What's cool is they're losing power faster than possible. Faster than, again, we could imagine, especially with this war. It's just really accelerated. It's just, people need to do something more than complain about it on the internet. Like, they got to show up to city hall meetings. They got to show up to PTA meetings. They got to run for Congress. But you know what? We're seeing a lot more progressive people, and Kat Abigazela didn't make it through, but they can't stop all of us. They can't stop everywhere. Everyone has to be doing it at every moment of the day, unionizing their workplace, thinking about things more collectively, building food boxes outside, I recommended building just a free pantry in front of your house. Like, that doesn't cost a lot. And just stocking that, if you have the money to help other people, like, those are simple ways that will help people survive. And like, but they don't think of it. Even that is like too much effort sometimes, it feels like. Because
there's I don't know if this is a thing in America, but around here, there's a new thing popping up where people will be making these little houses for books. and having street libraries. And I've kind of want to make one and fill it with radical theory.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great idea.
I reckon that would be cool.
Yeah.
But
people put ice packets in some of ours, like ice, like whistles and like know your rights packets. I started to see those in the free
that's really
libraries
cool
here. Yeah, but it's like community communication too, right? That the government doesn't even know about.
Yeah,
that is what we need to be doing.
My only concern is that people would vandalize it.
Yeah, I mean, it might.
But like, it would be a shame as well, because I would try and find like good theory, not just like typical sort of online leftist theory that gets recommended to everyone. I would like talk to people and be like, hey, what's some good stuff that I can like maybe print off and bind and put in here or whatever.
Get more people to do it with you. Yeah.
And try and get a community effort across the state to do it. That would be cool. But I find that there aren't enough anarchists in Melbourne. There are a lot of socialists. A lot of them are very state bootlicking type of socialist, which is very frustrating. Especially when they're cheering on cops when they beat fascists, but cry when they do it to them. Like, hey, why don't we just oppose the police? That would be a great idea. And then going back to like the kids thing, you heard about the social media ban for kids here, yeah?
I didn't hear details, but I believe it. Australia has had weird digital laws already, like for many years. Yeah. Yeah.
So they were like, oh, we need to save the children. Somebody think of the children. To pass a under 16 social media ban. So basically all kids under 16 can't have social media profiles. Say what you want about that. I found out that this law was pushed through with the help of the gambling lobby backing the people pushing this through.
It's all about the sports betting shit.
Because there was a sports betting ban coming through the pipeline. And guess what got shelved?
The sports betting part of it?
Uh-huh. Because once kids are off the internet, you don't need to worry about gambling ads.
Wow.
Everyone's an adult.
Wow. Yeah.
So if that doesn't tell you how powerful the gambling lobby is in Australia, if you're an American, don't let it become like this. Stop it before it starts. This is bad. This is really bad. Like, look up statistics on gambling issues in Australia. It's a problem. It's a really, really big problem.
As more and more, I mean, I honestly see that as like another like sickness of despair. Like people are losing hope in any type of like future and retirement, like, and being able to collect. They're just like, if I'm going to do it, I have to fucking risk big, pray to God, hope it put it on black, like that is more and more what people are doing. And they put themselves, it's the normal poverty cycle. It's just like how normal ass fucking lottery tickets that have always existed in America. Poverty is always disproportionately spent on by people with like fucking no money, basically, because they're just looking for any way out. They're buying hope is what they're buying.
Yeah, literally.
And
they're
like
profiting off it.
Yeah, and meanwhile, they're taking away the internet because they know it's such a dangerous way to spread information. And we have a section 230 or whatever here in America. Like they're
trying to repeal it, aren't they?
What's that?
They're trying to repeal it, aren't they?
Yeah, they're trying to repeal Section 230, which is what lets I believe it's what lets platforms not be held liable for speech and things that go onto them. But like the moment you make platforms liable, they're just going to shut everything fucking down, create all these extra gates, right? And like they're going to make, again, it's just like Discord. They're trying to build digital ID face scanning into everything. That is absolutely fucking coming everywhere. And people don't realize it. And again, once it's all going to be training the facial recognition systems. I just watched Louise Rosman. You know who Louise Rosman is? Yeah, he just had a video yesterday about how it was awesome. He created an ALPR like website where it will inform you of meetings and things happening in your area related so that you can go get active. Awesome. But it was because a woman was fucking caught by a automated face ID. It caught her for a fucking felony and it was wrong, but she sat in prison for 6 months, lost her job, lost her car, lost her house. Like Well, totally ruined her fucking life because she was detected as the wrong fucking Face ID piece. But more and more, like everything is going to go into these automated systems that are going to call you a minor or not. And like the options you're going to have for not doing it, for turning it off, are just not going to be there. You're not going to have the option. And it's all going to also be feeding capitalism. They're going to be building ads off of it. It's going to get even more targeted. Like people have to be disconnecting. I just bought 2 hard drives. This system I'm on is Windows 10. Windows 11, I'm not fucking doing. We're going to Linux, dog. Sorry. Like
that's what he's doing too.
Yeah, done with it. Fuck you, Microsoft. This is what did it. Like I've been laughing about that for so long, but like I'm fucking ready.
I want my aggregate search functions and internal AI. Like you can train an internal AI and not use water and absurd amount of electricity. Like, and going back to Sabotage, I'm genuinely like come to the same conclusion, especially after learning about the Clarion-Clipperton zone and them trying to take these fucking nodules off the ground by dredging the ocean floor. Do you know what happens to the sediment after they dredge the ocean floor?
Oh God, what does it do?
It stays dredged for they don't know how long because they tested it
because they're just like
still.
Well, we dumped the soil back in the ocean,
and it's like the sediment is still floating. It hasn't settled yet. That was 30 fucking years ago, and they're dredging the ocean floor right now. An Australian fucking company is dredging the ocean floor for these nodules of precious metals that have formed over millions of years. What kind of life do you think is on these things that they are not taking into consideration? What kind of environment are they completely destroying in the ocean floor? We don't know anything about the ocean. It is so crucial to the earth, and people are just like, nah, fuck it, dredge the ocean.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I just bought a gardening book because I'm learning again. I'm really like stepping back and I'm like, I need to learn needle and thread. I need to learn fucking sewing. I need to learn like practical skills because that is going to none of that is going to be accessible in the future. And it's all going to be way more necessary. But one of the things it taught me was it was talking about soil rotation. It was like, actually, what we've learned, a lot of people think you need to rotate it or whatever and pull things out, dead shit out. And like, but actually we've learned is that soil is a whole ecosystem and you actually don't want to, once it like, you don't really want to disturb it as little as possible, as long as it's like not toxic or whatever. But like, and everything you're talking about is like, it's an entire ecosystem that they're just like, rip, and it's just like what animals and how much the ocean is important to our ability to breathe fucking oxygen on this earth. Like it's crazy that it's even gotten this far, and but it's not stopping, and it's like it's why I'm totally comfortable coming off. I realize like I'm the insane person now in people's families, is like the guy who won't shut the fuck up about the planet is dying and we need to change. But I'm like, someone very, very important to me when Trump got elected, and I was like, please get involved, please do something. This is going to be really bad. Maybe you want to sell off your stocks. And like, they were like, they're an older person. They're like 60. And they were like, you know what? Yeah, you're, I think you're just gonna have to deal with this. Sorry. Like we're old. I'm going to go live retirement and I'm going to have a good time. I've been around a long time. And I did. My generation didn't do a good job of stewarding this world for you, but, sorry.
Yourself.
And like, it was a joke. It was a joke, but it was like, I know you're serious. I know, first off, I know you're fucking serious, but two, the joke isn't fucking funny. Like the world we're going to have to live in is not fucking funny at all. And you're going to be alive for another 30 years. So you're going to get to fucking experience it. Like, but that's how I come off in lots of conversations now. And it's like, people do not fucking get it. And it's, sometimes it's better maybe to talk to individuals who care, and we can come up with plans, and like we can synthesize information. I didn't know that, and I'm like, oh wow, that makes me even more alarmed. And that's a data point I can use in conversations and like keep together. But
it's called the Metals Company, by the way.
What was it?
The Metals Company.
The Metals Company. Okay, but Peter Thiel is also trying to do this.
Oh yeah. He is evil.
Yeah, well, and that's another thing.
Evil.
People don't understand that, like, I've listened to some podcast interviews for people who have done like long form interviews with these people in the background, like talking about what they see in the future, right? And all this techno futurism. And like the more you talk to these people, the more you realize that they are preparing for mass, like they are building their fortresses. They are making themselves more resilient. And like the problems they're trying to figure out is how they're going to get their private security people to keep them safe. You know, how much are they going to have to buy them and to keep those people? How many people do they keep around to protect them? Like that is the conversations they're happening. They have given up on the world and are totally and are just totally like, they're not going to solve hunger. They're not going to solve climate change. They're just going to, this is my theory, is that these Elon and Gates and Palantir and Alex Karp and fucking Peter Thiel, they are obsessed with living forever, and they are just doing everything they can. They want to build the general AI that is hyper, takes us to this next compute, because they think that is their way out of solving death. That is my theory. That is my
they believe in quantum immortality.
Yeah, they're chasing immortality, and they're happy to burn for all of us to die on the hopes.
There's that infamous.
We should eat.
It's an infamous Peter Thiel clip where they're like, "You want humanity to survive, right?" And like he's hesitating before answering. What he's actually answering there is that he believes that we can evolve into this new cyber being type thing. It's a quantum immortality type of thing.
The book that is from, or that talks about that, is called The Romance of Reality. And I actually read it like 3 or 4 years ago. And I found it to be very hopeful, because the premise of the book is like, okay, second law is like, energy cannot be created or destroyed or whatever. Or like entropy. Like entropy is just a thing. So a lot of people get nihilistic because they're like, with entropy, that means the world's going to end in heat death. And that can make people depressed. And it was like, okay, but let's take a step back. And like, as humans, we're never going to exist in a world. Like, we're always going to exist where energy is possible. The sun is going to be there for all of us forever, effectively. So what if we didn't operate that way? And it talks about how we can keep advancing and like effectively technology and the reason life exists from from the universe's perspective is to generate entropy as fast as possible. And like, I read that book and was like, oh, that's interesting. And when I heard shit like that, I was like, oh my God, people are like really twisting this into like to justify, the nihilistic suicide. And I was just very unhappy with that. Like, we got to stop the billionaires. They cannot be convinced to get us off of this path. That is something talked about in How to Blow Up a Pipeline.
Clearly people are not willing to become uncomfortable to stop them. Because at the end of the day, if we stop buying from them, we stop using their shit, their money dries up. So at the end of the day, we have the power, and that's the thing that people need to come to terms with more than ever before, I think, is that we are the majority.
Yeah.
They have no power realistically, only if we let them. And this is why
none of these people are willing to protect themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Elon, none of these people, I could beat the shit out of all of them. Fist fight, no problem. Like they're all like, fucking.
The most puzzling thing is the poor working class who go to bat for billionaires. That is the most puzzling thing. Like 50 years of trickle down fucking bullshit. You've seen nothing. Your family has lived in a shack in Appalachia for 35 years and you've seen no change. How are you still believing this?
So I
don't get it.
I watch a YouTuber recently called Prairie Fire. He's a farmer out in Nebraska. And I call him my woke farmer that I watch. And he did a video explaining like why these people voted for Trump. And it truly is that like in these communities, in these rural communities, there is zero alternative perspective other than the right-wing line. That is all these people. Democrats do not visit these communities at all. They do not engage in these communities. They do not speak to their issues in any way, shape, or form. They do not interact with people who live out in these rural communities. My ex-wife, her father was a dry wheat farmer in addition to being an airline pilot for Alaska Airlines. So he would work all year, and then he would take 3 months off at the end of the year to get in a giant combine and like get everybody together and harvest. And like, I understand like that world. It's a very like being a farmer is a difficult job. It is your whole life. And it can be very lucrative. But again, there's all these government systems that are fucking it up. And like all the incentives are really bad. And like, and now it's all really fucked with tariffs. But like that's the reason. The reason is there is no alternative. Like it has been so propagandized. And like it literally takes tariffs hitting farmers, realizing they can't sell soybeans to China because China's our main soybean importer, and they literally everything is just gonna die on the vine, and they're not gonna sell it. It takes ICE going to communities in northern Washington and fucking abducting people off of cherry orchards and apple orchards, and then finding out that nobody comes back the next day, and all that fruit fucking, I didn't have Rainier cherries. I love Rainier cherries. We like did not have them at all in their stores this summer. And people had to, again, invisible, right? Because they fill it with another thing in the grocery store. But like, it was because of that. It takes that before these people realize, oh shit, these policies are coming for me. And there is actually wider knock-on effects because they never hear anything otherwise.
Yeah, and that's the realization that people need to come to. But I'm genuinely surprised that sabotage hasn't become more common. Like, it's even like with AI, I watched a video by Kyle Hill, who talked about a program that you can install on your computer called Nepenthes, which is essentially a self-referential tar pit that essentially traps an AI in your system and destroys its data. Essentially shuts it down. I'm like, how is this not a widely deployed thing among everybody? Like, this should be something that everybody has on their computer.
A lot of times
they large language models.
Sorry? A lot of times companies find that stuff and they detect it quickly, and then they build it in. Yeah, because they create these loops and like another thing is poisoning the data. Like a lot of people like putting like watermarks or subtler things inside your content. Like a lot of that stuff worked temporarily, but then they figure it out, and it's like it's just like any level of security. It's a constant cat and mouse game. Yeah, and the people need fighting it. There's not enough people fighting it. Like I can tell you from a cybersecurity perspective, like people getting master's degrees in cybersecurity are coming out, and there are no jobs for them, and not even that, they are not qualified for the jobs that exist because what the actual job is now and what they learned are just totally different fucking things, and that's why it's like. Me being out of the market, like I don't even feel bad. Like I'm a very skilled engineer. Like any company that wants a good price on somebody, like can totally take me, but they're not going to because like it is what I say and like my social media is just way too dangerous, and they're not going to take that risk, especially since like somebody has come after me all fucking ready. But yeah, like more people are going to get involved. I'm hopeful more people are going to get involved because again, the scope of people impacted is just going to keep increasing every single day. The war in Iran is the most horrific thing I've ever seen, and it is also what fills me with hope that we will no longer be dragging out I feel like the first decade of my life, like the most I was fighting people just like, please see that there is a problem. Please see that things are very bad, for all of us. And like, we're not on a good path. And like, these people are lying to you, and they're actually extremely fucking racist, and they actually do not give a shit about you. The mask is gone, and like more and more it is easy. It's not hard to get people on board that bad things are happening here, and even that my local cops aren't good. The problem is just that there are enough of the people that are actually totally in support of it, and those people are in positions of power. Those people have almost all of our positions of power. Even the people in my city council who passed a resolution saying that we support marginalized communities. We're here every day, and it's like that's the entire thing they did. They slapped themselves in the back because they said we support trans people officially in a fucking thing, and it's just like nothing changed.
Nothing.
ICE is still going to take us out.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think we can call it there. Do you want to promote anything?
Yeah, I would love if you like what I'm talking about. If you want to get more engaged, if you want to get more involved in your community, if you're somebody who's new to this, but you're like looking for ideas, or you want to become an activist, if you like. Feel free to follow me. I'm doing my best. I am trying to. So I don't have a job. My job is effectively full-time YouTuber, full-time activist, and I do lots of events. I'm going to be engaged in the No Kings March here. Like I'm kind of doing I do all the things. I do the big liberal things because I want to like be visible and I want to help my community. I'm building a bigger network. It helps me network, but I also do small stuff. Like I'm very much engaged in trying to like follow what ICE is doing. And right now we're in my community, we have the World Cup coming here. We believe that ICE is going to be trying to get people who are coming into our community at like, because all they care about is deportations. So we are trying to prepare for that. We're trying to get more people engaged in that. And that's the type of stuff I talk about. If you want to talk about how to do something to stop this, follow me on YouTube. I also have an Instagram where I post mostly pictures, and I got a Blue Sky where I talk. That's more regularly. If you want to chat about stuff publicly, things that are safe to talk about for the whole world, follow me on Blue Sky. It's SquidTips pretty much everywhere. Instagram is SquidTips2gram, I think. But yeah, Linktree. You'll find me on Linktree.
Beautiful. All right.
It's great talking to y'all. It's been fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Thank you.
We'll end the stream.
Through the years, America has stood as the world symbol for law and order. Anarchy, well, that was something that was always happening in other countries. Newsworthy, perhaps, but it could never happen here. The policeman on the corner has traditionally been looked upon as a friend, not as the instrument of a tyrant. People in other countries had just reasons to riot against their governments. The nations of the world are dictatorships in one form or another.